Yo, what is going on, everybody? My name is Alan, and this is Project Elevate, and this is NBA2k22 MyTeam guide. I'm going to walk you through some of the modes, some strategies to build your team, and some strategies to build up MT over the year so you can have a successful, fun year. Don't have to worry, don't have to stress, and be as successful as you can. So drop a like, subscribe if you want to see more content coming throughout the year. We're ready to grind, man. So let's get started. All right, so first thing is first, you got to get familiar with the menus. On the home screen, you have your agendas over here. You have a community hub, locker codes, stuff like that. Single player modes, you have your triple threat offline. You have domination, you have your challenges, and you have your freestyle, basic practice, just shooting around, get to know your players' jump shots and whatnot. Okay, so triple threat offline, basically you just win games. See, you have a vault opening again this year, just like last year, familiar with that. So after every win, you get a chance to open a vault for one of the prizes that are on the board, shown as there. And as you get more wins, you just level up. So available from the get-go, 300 wins gets you a diamond David Thompson. And along the way, there's a couple of players and packs, MT and stuff like that. Amethyst D Brown, etc., etc. Not a bad way. This is probably the least sweaty, stressful thing to do in my team. All right, so domination. Domination was kind of the de facto go-to single player mode in my team for a lot of years. And one little tip is if you're gonna do domination, do it as quickly as possible. This year in domination, you can get an Amethyst Draymond Green and then a Diamond Bob Cousy for doing current and all-time domination. Domination games are rookie, pro difficulty. I suggest always just going for all-star difficulty and just get through some of those if you get the skill. If you're brand new to the game or your team is really deficient, go through maybe pro on some of the harder teams in the conference, but for the most part, you just want to knock these out as quickly as possible. It's going to be the most valuable doing it right at the get-go. All right, so challenges. Challenges, you have skill challenges, pickup challenges, spotlight challenges, signature challenges. They all have different rewards, different things. These are new to this year's game, skill challenges. And pretty much like this one, you got to do 9 3-pointers in 1 quarter. And as soon as you hit that, the game ends. So it's not a super long grind. Nice little way to get some challenges done. These are going to be changing throughout the season. And freestyle, like I said, it's just freestyle. You go into the practice gym, work on your shot, do all that kind of good stuff. As far as the multiplayer side, brand new to this year is the draft. So pretty much you can go in, you draft a team. You can either use token or I believe you can use VC to get tokens or something like that. You can earn tokens from different season agendas and things like that. So that's kind of like their money pit there. And basically when you get wins, you get Ascension board picks. Familiar with Ascension from last year, you're going to feel right at home. Triple Threat Online, new to this year, is the 100. A lot of controversy in the 2K community about that. You got to give up less than 100 points or you get reset. And every tier up, you kind of move up. It's 3 different tier boards with available prizes that get better and better as you progress in tier. It's probably going to be pretty sweaty early on, though. So we'll see. Unlimited is the flagship 5-on-5 mode. The same structure comes in. You have different tiers that you got to work through to level up to the next tier, which would be gold tier. You got to get 2 wins out of 12, and it just keeps leveling up, and you get a prize box for each time you level up into a new tier. At the end, you're capable of getting this Wilt Chamberlain, Pink Diamond Wilt Chamberlain, who's actually looking pretty enticing early on. Again, unlimited rewards seem to lose value as the season progresses and cards get more juiced. So if you're gonna go for unlimited, might be a nice time to try to do it early on, when Wilt Chamberlain will probably be one of the best big men for quite some time if you get him early on. Limited is back. This season you get a Pink Diamond Devin Booker for getting rings in each week. Basically how it works, you have lineup restrictions each week that change, and after every win you get to choose either the middle, left, or right. You can't see what's on the left or the right, and you're hunting for a ring. One of my favorite modes. A lot of people didn't like it. last year, but to me, it was one of the most fun modes. A great way to get chat involved and stuff like that. So definitely follow me on Twitch and jump in the chat. It's a good time. We had pretty crazy luck with the ring, so that maybe contributed why I liked it more than others. And then play with friends. Now you can play 5-on-5, or you can play triple threat, which is really cool. It's gonna set up some nice tournaments and stuff like that. A lot of community interaction with that. So that's gonna be kind of a fun thing. I'm excited about that. Getting, like three guys versus three guys and triple threat and just going crazy with that. That's gonna be fun. It's kind of like the park experience, but with my team. Here's the pack market over here, and you can buy packs. Don't buy packs. That's not worth it. But if you have a pack addiction, like so many of us, this is where you can get your packs. This is where you have your unopened reward packs. I got some stuff from doing challenges in last year's game and the pre-order bonuses and stuff like that. So that's cool. The rewards, this is where you have your token reward market players. You can exchange tokens for players. Now, again, these guys are going to have the most value early on. So if you're going to go on that route, get through it as quickly as possible, get into the higher tiers, and that way you're kind of set up to get some of these new updated players as the seasons progress. Later on in the year, these do not become really worth it. Each tier basically costs more tokens. So the first tier is 3 tokens per player. Second tier is 6 tokens per player. 15, 30, 60, 150. Nobody in the Galaxy Opal tier now. That's typically 700. And then Dark Matter, if that becomes available, last year was 1,000 tokens per player. This is where you can buy VC. Don't do it. Auction house. This is where you're gonna spend a lot of time making MT, man. MT is the currency of MyTeam. MyTeam points is what it stands for. And to unlock it this year, you got to get 30 players on your squad. So I haven't unlocked it yet. I just started the game. This is where you have your auction outcomes, active bids, and your auctions. So this is where you can create your auctions, and you'll have players stored and whatnot. Unlock that as quickly as possible, and we're definitely going to get into how to make MT. And actually, that's something I want to talk to you about real quick. Once you unlock the auction house and you start acquiring MT, you want to start stacking up that MT as quickly as possible. You're gonna have to, spend a little bit at the beginning, build a decent squad, but your first goal should be to get to 250,000 MT as quickly as possible. Once you're there, you're coasting, man. You're coasting. You can have, basically, you have 100K for any big game sniping. That means really high tier players that you can snipe and try to flip. If you don't know what sniping is, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna have a whole series actually called Snipe Theory. So look for that episode coming soon. Hopefully today or tomorrow, we'll get that first episode coming to you. But yeah, you're gonna want to have that money just to snipe some of those big names. You're gonna want about 75K just rotating XP challenges if you want to pick up players to do XP challenges on your grind to level 40. You want to have about 50K for just like small snipe flipping, just have that little cushion there. And then you want 25K to be your absolute minimum. Treat that as 0. You never want to go below that. In case of emergency, that means you never run out of contract packs or whatever, things like that. You just don't want to go below 25K. So start building, try not to spend too much early on. And here's some tips to not really lose MT. Okay, so never bag hold the big top meta players. Those players drop in value tremendously over the year as a different player, different tier of player replaces them as the meta player. So you never want to hold on to those like top guys. The game will change quickly. So there's always somebody that you can get for half the cost or less that's going to give you about 90% of what that player can do, 90-95% of what he can do. So don't get caught up in the meta. Don't get that fear of missing out. The FOMO, you can live without that player. Trust me, there's going to be budget beasts that can do pretty much everything they can do. So never bag hold the top meta players. Another thing is you almost never want to lock in any sets. Especially early on, the game just changes too quickly, and those players that were beasts as lock-in rewards, they're gonna get outclassed pretty soon. And you're gonna have locked in a bunch of MT, especially if you're locking in. There's always that gatekeeper card that ties up a lot of MT, and that's it. Your MT is locked away for good for the rest of the season. So never lock in those players early on. Towards the middle end of the game, that's where locking in is more feasible. And as you increase your MT, it's not going to hurt you as much to lock away, 75K, 100K, 200K, whatever it costs to lock in that set. All right, so let's get into some team building basics. Okay, right now I just have my starter cards. I haven't really started building my team, but you have your team management here. And I picked Trae Young as my starter. I got JJ Redick, who's looking pretty nice with the shooting. But basically, this is how you kind of want to structure your team building. You want to have just one go-to scorer that you know it can get you buckets. You can spend a little bit of MT. Don't try to go for that top meta guy. He's usually not worth it. But you need somebody that can get you consistent buckets. And then on the flip side, you need somebody that's your defensive stopper. At least one guy. Defense is not as expensive as a great offensive player, so you could probably fill your squad with pretty decent defenders with cheaper MT. But definitely that you need at least one just all-out guy that can shut down the other team's go-to scorer. That's going to be a big thing. Then you can start filling in with role players. You want to look for budget beasts, cards that can really have a specialized role, either jump shooters like this JJ Redick is going to be like my spot-up shooter. You want some slashers, some rebounders, some defensive specialists, 3-and-D guys. Just look for those budget beasts. So I'm going to give you tips throughout the year as far as you can use for a fraction of the cost of other cards and stuff like that. Okay, so another thing you want to do is you want to maximize reward players early on. So that's token reward players, that's domination players, that's triple threat players. Whatever you can get your hands on early on, they're going to have the most value early on in the game when we're just dealing with base card sets. As cards come out in packs week to week, those players will lose value. But early on, like for example, last year, Emerald Bobby Jones, man, he was just so fast. He was so good. Really early on, he carried a lot of people to wins early on in the game. So there's going to be somebody that kind of pops up. I'll keep you updated as I get my hands on some of these cards, what some good choices are. But maximize those reward cards early on to build your team, and then that way you have players in place so you don't have to spend your MT and you can get that accumulation process going. Trust me, my team is a much better experience when you have a cushion of MT. You can buy cards, you can try new cards, you can kind of mess with the meta cards, do their XP, sell them back, do all that stuff, and keep your stuff going without having to be totally strapped for cash. So start stacking up that MT early on. And as you kind of progress through the season, like I said, 250K is like your first goal. You want to try to get there as quickly as possible, using the auction house and whatnot. Again, check out Snipe Theory for just kind of a breakdown on how to make MT in the auction house. We're going to go into depth on that. After that, you want to, eventually aim for 500K, $1 million, and pretty much at $1 million, if you can maintain $1 million MT throughout the year, that'll carry you throughout. If you can be not tempted to spend too much on some really overhyped name, you're going to be good with that. But the sky's the limit, man. Some people, they go into my team and they want to stack millions on millions. There's been years in the past where I've gone for collector levels, sold back my collection, walked away with 4 or 5 mil. And then definitely my team becomes very, very open and fun at that point. Chip away at the collector level. The collector level is back this year. So you're going to get some pretty nice cards from that, some nice MT. For example, let's actually go into collector level real quick so we can see what that looks like. So it's in lifetime agendas, collector level here. Like I said, 30 cards for the auction house is the first level. You want to do that as quickly as possible as you can start making MT on the auction house. But as you go on, like I say, you get a Sapphire Kobe, you get some cards that are going to be players in your lineup early on. So you want to blaze through this decently quickly, pick up some of those cheap cards and work your way up on that. If you want like specific collector level tips, let me know in the comments. In 2K20, I did a pretty decent job of getting the collector level, and I had some strategies and stuff like that in place. And you kind of have to starve yourself a little bit to go through collector level quick if you're not just ripping packs with VC. You're going no money spent, which I highly recommend you do. No money spent is definitely the way to go. You start chipping away at it, and then the best thing about doing this route is once you get to the level you want to get to, You can sell back the entire collection, and it's kind of like investing. Now remember, if you start stacking up expensive players from the get-go and you hold them all the way to the end, you're just tanking value on those cards. So you definitely don't want to stack and just hold those type of cards. You want to keep your lineup pretty tight as far as expensive cards goes. Like I said, one go-to scorer, a couple good defenders, a couple good role players that are budget beasts. Don't tie up too much MT in your lineup, because that's going to be changing and evolving. Build up your collection with, coach cards, jerseys, arenas, playbooks, stuff like that. Just go for the cheapest ones, little by little. Use some of that money, that first 250K that you round up. Use a little bit of that to grab some cards, go to a level, and then rebuild that MT. Kind of go back and forth with that process. All right, so new to last year's NBA2k MyTeam was level 40. That's back for this year here. And you start off with the Onyx Kobe. It's a free agent card that has limited uses. So don't use them too frequently, but if you need to get over a hard challenge, or you got like one win to get to the next tier of unlimited or something like that, you could bust out some of your free agent cards. Some people would just stack their team with free agent cards early on. It is a strategy. Considered a little bit cheesy, but hey man, you do what you got to do, I guess. You can get some nice stuff, Ascension players, and you get some decent players going up through these. Now, I wouldn't recommend you go crazy trying to be the first one that can get expensive as far as the MT, but slow, steady grind, it's pretty doable. So these are the different rewards that you can get. Like I said, I just want to show you guys these, and then the grand prize for this season is a Pink Diamond Carmelo Anthony card. He should be a beast. So last year, last year, I didn't think it was going to be that important. And Stephen Curry was the best point guard for months and months. So take that with a grain of salt, but these cards are going to be the most worth it early on in the year. As level 40 progressed down the line, it was very hit or miss, because there was just so many cards that could do the same things. Once stats kind of just get boosted to the top, you can't really make any card special. So early on, these cards are going to be good. And a lot of these diamonds and stuff like that, they're going to be pretty good. Amethyst cards are still going to have value kind of like going into it. And you do get like some decent, sometimes you get a Hall of Fame badge or something like that. And you can really, throw them on a player, make some extra MT that way. All right, so last little bit of tip here. As far as your team goes, like I said, you want to have your go-to scorer. You want to have a defensive stopper or two, maybe like a defensive stopper on the wing, a defensive stopper on the glass, on down low, that can, do his work on the glass and shut down the post. Then you want to have your role players, guys that you can trust to hit open shots. Just specialists, don't overspend to just get the best of everybody. A lot more efficient. Your MT could be put to a lot better use, just kind of growing, stacking it up rather than just buying a bunch of meta cards. But again, this is your way to do it. If you want to do it that way, by all means, go crazy, do your thing. This is just one strategy of many, but it's something that's worked for me in the past, and it works for a lot of people. So the biggest thing is you want to get really comfortable with your team. You can make tweaks here and there. Sometimes players just don't work out, they don't fit, or a new player comes in that can really change the structure and your kind of game style. But know your play style, know your guys' releases, get comfortable with what they can do. So early on, hotspots matter. So like even JJ Redick doesn't have any hotspots from outside. Trae Young does have one from the corner there. So you definitely want to take advantage of that stuff. Just get to know your players, get comfortable, build chemistry with your team. All right, guys, and that is pretty much going to wrap up this guide. Let me know in the comments what else you need to know, want to know, if I covered all my bases pretty well. Again, check us out on stream, on Twitch. Link is going to be down in the description. It's probably flashing on the screen right now. Come say what's up in the chat. We'd love to have you. And that is going to wrap it up for the video, guys. Hope 2K22 is a great time for you guys. Hopefully the gameplay checks all the boxes that we've been wanting for years and years and years. And thanks for checking out the video. Drop that like, subscribe if you want to see more content like that. My name is Alan. This is Project Elevate. Till next time, elevate your grind, your game, yourselves, and each other. Peace.